In the currency quadrant, taking a look at the June Canadian dollar, which had a very strong week, best week for the Canadian dollar since March, plus over 0.8%. The loonie rose 4 of 5 days this week, although volume was on a downward trajectory for most of the week, which is understandable coming into a long weekend for U.S. FX traders. On the upside, 78.55 half was up 0.33%. On the downside, we're only down 0.1% at 78.20 half, and we finished up just short of 0.25% better on the day. Now, the U.S. dollar is part of the reason for the tailwind with the loonie. The dollar completed its second week lower as yields continue to go lower in the U.S. In aggregate, meaning against all the majors, give or take, the dollar was down over 1% for the second straight week. It fell almost 1.5% against the euro, 1.1% against the pound, and 0.5% against the yen, including the 0.8% that it fell against the Canadian dollar. Now, also tailwind for the loonie, crude, which is up 4.3% this week. Commodities in general are higher, but crude oil specifically can give a tailwind to the Canadian dollar because of how much crude oil Canadian oil sands represents. So if we get a strong crude oil week, it will typically be a tailwind for the Canadian dollar, all else equal, especially when you're seeing yields drop in the U.S. the way they have. The 2-year in the U.S. fell 12 basis points. The 5-year fell 8 basis points. The 10-year fell 4 basis points, and the 30-year pretty much unchanged, which resulted in a curve steepening for the U.S. But overall, with yields lower, that's a weaker dollar. That's a stronger Canadian dollar, as well as the rest of the pairs that trade against it.